Fazbear Entertainment would like you to put your hands together for the one, the only, Freddy Fazbear.
As of recording this video, Security Breach turns 3 years old tomorrow, so I decided it would be a good idea to attempt a challenge run that I have been meaning to do for years. Security Breach without using elevators. Security Breach without elevators is not too difficult normally, but the console copies, which are the ones I have, were patched much further than the PC version, making them the most fixed version of the game. So I decided to see if it was possible to do the strange idea of beating Security Breach without using elevators, or lifts if you're from the UK. I decided to go for the Afton ending, since the escape ending would require me to go down to parts of service, and even though I could get down, I couldn't get back up from it due to it pretty much being a stronghold. So I settled on the Afton ending. I hope you enjoy the video.
We're sleeping.
The start of the run is obviously pretty simple, so let's introduce the rules for the challenge. I have to get the Afton ending without using a single elevator. This means no entering or using them for any reason. As you may already know, the Afton ending is accessed through an elevator, so we already have an issue. But first we need to figure out a way into the atrium, as the atrium connects everything together and is vital to complete a run. However, it is normally accessed through, say it with me, an elevator. This means a little bit of out of bounds is needed to reach the elevator as fast as possible. And luckily, my 100 hours in this game has provided plenty of out of bounds knowledge for me. I know this challenge was a weird idea, but David Barron made a video where he played the game with a steering wheel, so I consider it reasonable. Also, I have more Security Breach videos planned in the future, so if you do enjoy this different type of video, consider liking and following the channel. I have plenty more videos planned, so with that out of the way, let's start game breaking. The first thing to do is save, and you'll notice I hug the wall when I save. This will be important for later. I also reload the game after this clip to set it as my save, but I forgot to record it. One thing to know about Security Breach is if you fall out of the world, you don't just fall forever, instead you'll be taken back to the last save you reloaded the game at. And still never patched this? So in this case, that save there is the save I will be taken back to. When you're teleported back, the game will be unloaded. This allows you to get out of bounds very easily. However, you don't have long to do this, which is why I need to be as close to the wall as possible. First, I need to fall out the map, and the earliest place I know how to do this is in First Aid.
She's down here. We have to go back.
This is where patching messes us up. This left railing can be jumped on PC, but as you can see, it is not possible on Xbox. But this is Security Breach, and there is a second railing. As you can see, we are now out of bounds, and we've been teleported back to that earlier save with the map unloaded. We can make that jump through the wall, and now we can hope we land on the outside of the wall. As you can see, I failed there, but we can try again. And this time, we have made it work, and we are now out of bounds. We can save here, so we don't have to do that again, and reload it to set it as the new checkpoint. Now we are back, and it is time to go for a bit of an out of bounds walk. This jump loads in the backstage corridor where we sneak past Roxy to get the backstage pass at around 2 AM. We need that pass, but from inbounds we would need a level 2 security badge, and we don't have that. So we have to get it out of bounds. Now, practicing this took quite a lot of attempts, as I'm sure you can imagine. This is just the successful run that I'm showing. But once you know the navigation, you can get through fairly easily. This backstage pass will allow us to get into the atrium without using an elevator, since old strategies such as the curtain, the convenience counter, have been patched. Picking up the backstage pass is a fine alternative, but it will set the time to 2 AM, which has a strange effect on the game. It also has a chance to spawn Gigamonty, so that's fun. Now, this is Chica's green room in front of me, and it is so close to the room I'm walking around that it will try and load in. This unloads the floor I'm standing on and will cause me to fall. So, to combat this, we use Chica's room to walk around. As you can see, I am now outside of Chica's room, and the backstage pass is just ahead. I now have to run along an invisible floor to progress from here. It is a sprint to get around the level 2 door before the world loads. But we made it, and we are now outside the rehearsal room. We can now hit the save and reload the game again, which will allow us to do the next glitch. Also, here's some out of bounds footage. You can see poor Freddy waiting down in First Aid for us. Yeah, sorry, but we are not going back there. The next step is to get in bounds again, since we are out of bounds. By jumping into the void, the game will of course take us back to the save. This will give us a chance to get back in bounds. Unfortunately, it will load in too quickly the first time. But it will let us the second time, and as you can see, we are now in bounds and the game will load in. Hopefully soon. There we Now we can walk over to the backstage pass. By getting this pass, we can access the security office where we electrocute Roxy and Monty. This office has a direct route to the atrium without taking us through any elevators. The only problem is it is 2 AM, so the run will have a few extra issues later on, since this is when the showtime sequence takes place. For now, we just beat the really easy minigame and make our way to the atrium. After the game finishes its fourth load in the last 10 seconds, there we are. This game loads constantly, and it can be annoying, but now we can start the minigame and make our way to the atrium. Now that the minigame is over, we can use the vent to head down into the hallway that leads to the atrium. The next goal is to reach Roxy Raceway, since the afternoon ending is located just under it. We don't have access to Roxy Raceway because we don't have the level 2 security pass. Thankfully, we can use a deload to get through anyway. This will put us in the hallways leading up to the raceway so we can finally reach it. Let me show you how that's done.
You should be able to run a showtime program, which will
From the save, we can head up to the 3rd floor, being careful to avoid Roxy and Chica as we head up. The next skip helps us get over a gate that is blocking our path. In front of me is a pole thing that we can jump on, which will allow us to get on top of this glass railing. We can use a tactic called pinch jumping that lets us reach higher places through spamming jump in a corner. This can be difficult, but for this footage I got it first try. I definitely never failed it. Ever. Anyway, this is done to allow us to jump down to the place we deload from, getting us over the gate on the 1st floor in the process. This canyon sculpture below me has a weird hitbox, and we're going to use that to get out of bounds. After jumping onto the structure, I can walk around on it until the map deloads. Then I need to run up towards Phaserblast to trick the game into starting to load it. By running back towards the wall, I can get into the room you find Broken Freddy in before it loads in, skipping the level 2 security door. It was a bit sketchy, but I made it through before the game loaded. I was slightly worried I had softlocked myself here, but thankfully I hadn't. I was just trapped in the staircase supports. After that, I went and hit the save, so I didn't have to do that again.
Freddy!
And now it was time to enter Roxy Raceway and reach the after ending. I was getting close to completing the goal of beating Security Breach without elevators. Next up, I need to scale this forklift. Normally in Security Breach, Roxy Raceway can only be accessed after you have either Monty's claws or Chica's voice box. Since we don't have either of those things, we need to go out of bounds to do it. After I get over my skill issue in climbing over the forklift, we can walk along the walls. In some rooms, touching the ceiling results in the entire room deloading. Climbing these balloons let me reach the ceiling so I can touch it and deload the map. These balloons have very awkward hitboxes, so climbing them can be difficult. Luckily, I pull it off, and we can now perform the deload. Now that the room is deloaded, we can simply walk into Roxy Raceway before it has a chance to load, getting us in without needing any Freddy upgrades. Now, we need to do a few things. We can't just trigger the after ending, as we need to be able to call and use Freddy, so I need to set the time to 5 AM. I can use the staff bot head to do this, and now I can call Freddy. So, all I need to do now is call Freddy, and you hear that? That is the sound of the Freddy ghoul bathing. I thought 5 AM would give me the ability, but apparently not, and since that ability was necessary to use Freddy and use recharge stations, I couldn't trigger the after ending. Was the challenge over then? Was it truly impossible? Was this the end of Elevatorless?
However, there is a staff repair station in the West Arcade. You will need
Of course
a
not.
pass to
We
access the
are
West
playing
Arcade.
Security
Have you
Breach,
checked
and
the
this
parking
sandbox
garages?
of a game
The
wasn't
raceway
stopping
must
me.
close very abruptly.
In Security Breach, the game constantly takes your ability to call Freddy away from you. However, this means triggers need to exist around the map that give the ability back to you. However, I was trapped in Roxy Raceway since I had just saved the game, so there was nowhere I could access that could give me the ability. But then I had an idea. In the Roxy Fire Chase, the game stops you from calling Freddy, but it gives it back to you after the fight. We can't access the area normally since we don't have the screwdriver, but there is a door that we exit from that we can get to. Thankfully, the door does not need a security badge, so it was time to see if we could bring back Freddy. Oh yeah, let's go burn a child murderer. This barrier that blocks the staircase can be jumped on, and using the flagpole next to it, we can get onto the staircase railing. This allows us to get up to the spectator stand, since the way Astral Spiff did it back in the earlier patches was patched, as you can see from this footage. This area is never normally accessed in-game, so it has a ton of dodgy hitboxes that we can use to mess around. We are currently above the Afton ending, but we need to fall down there out of bounds, since the normal method is, well, using an elevator. This canyon rock thing has a very bad hitbox, so jumping deloads the floor and allows me to fall down to the Afton ending, skipping the elevator and letting me into the FNAF 6 pizzeria without issue. I can now walk through the underground area to turn on the generators and power the building, with Freddy by our side. After avoiding the endos, it is time to start the fight. Thanks to the vent, I can use this recharge station to get Freddy down to the sinkhole. I accidentally get out of him here, but once back in, we can head down to the ending. Freddy is key here, as he is required to start the fight, so I just need to climb down these wooden pallets and reach the bottom. The ending is right within our grasp, so as long as I can start it, we are home free. The blob poses no threat, so I walk past and start the ending, ready to complete Security Breach Elevatorless after 3 years of the game first coming out. I won't show you the whole fight as I just read over it to save time. I hope you enjoyed this different style of video. It obviously took a lot of behind the scenes work, but I am glad I was able to bring it all together and contribute this to the FNAF Challenge community. Happy anniversary for Security Breach. I hope you're all excited for a new year of Five Nights at Freddy's, and I look forward to making many more FNAF challenges in the future. I may switch to PC Security Breach soon, so if you do have any ideas for challenges, let me know in the comments. Also, consider checking out the channel for more videos if you want to see more content by me. So there we are. That is how I beat Security Breach without using elevators, on the most patched version of the game. Thanks for watching.